So we got a Subaru that's been to a few shops multiple times and they couldn't find a leak, and I do see when I remove the caps a little, I mean the ever so slightest green tint. So I went through all my lights from 365 to 400 plus nanometer ultraviolet wavelength, and I was trying to see, and I could see it. Well, unfortunately, just prior to me picking up the camera, god dang it, I blew it because I put mine on there and I have my dye on there, but I could not barely see the dye. I mean, I was looking at, okay, there you could see the dye on my unit, but where they hooked up there, I didn't hook mine up yet, and it's ever so weak. Okay, so that's that one. Then we have this one. And I can see where mine, it's too bad that I hit this. Oh, but you'll see the leak down here. We'll do that too. So I messed it up by putting mine on here and then I picked it back off and now I could see dye. But prior to me putting my connector on there and then taking it off fast thinking I wanted to show you on video, you could barely see whatever kind of dye they put on there. It's, yeah, I could definitely see my thing hit it. So I contaminated it and I ruined my visual for you guys by putting my gauges on there. That really ruined. This was a good video opportunity to show you somebody's cheap dye that you could barely see with your eyes. So, but coming down here, you could see that dark shadow on the back of the receiver. It's all oily. So the dye should show. So I use the UV Beast, and there's nothing's glowing. So I used the 400 nanometer plus one, and there's nothing glowing. Use another one, nothing glowing. Use another one, the stuff with no oil on it glows more than the oil. Nothing. So they have a dye in here, some cheap ass dye, and I'm thinking it's that pre-diluted crap that you get that is already pre-diluted in the clear bottle that you get from the big box stores, and they thought that was dye, but really that's only pre-diluted dye. So you have 1 ounce of oil that already has a dilution of oil in it, and then you throw it in here and it's like 100 times diluted. It's ridiculous. You know, you go to a shop and they don't read, or when it's one of those pathetic owners who can't do the work themselves, they have no skill set, no training, no education, and they just look for the cheapest thing they could buy and they throw it in a customer's car, and they actually charge the customer money for screwing them over, ripping them off, cheating and lying to them. Whether it's intentional or through ignorance is no excuse, especially when it's multiple times. This customer has had to go several times. There it goes. Yeah, but you can see the little darkish area right there, and with their dye that they have in it, none of the spectrum lights work. None of them. And this is something, I don't mind if it's a do-it-yourself person who's decided to work on their car and save money and do it. That's fine. They can work and they can learn. They don't know any better. They just lack knowledge and education. But when somebody has a shop, a banner, and they're a professional supposedly, and they charge money and they put up the banners, we do AC, but they buy the crappiest lights, the crappiest leak detectors, if they even have one, the shittiest UV dye, the honky ass little gauge with the funky ass little vacuum pump, and screw customers' cars over. This is when I get pissed off, because I don't like people who rip off customers. Talk about cheap gauges. Got to take a sneak peek here. Here's when you know a gauge is failing. When the dye leaks up through the face, comes up through the port in the back, and it comes out through the face, you know you got a leak in your gauges. Okay, so there's nothing in there. There's no pressure in there. So I'm gonna jump right to nitrogen, even though I know That's a leak down there. And I'm going to evacuate it out, and I'm going to add refrigerant in there because this has been filled a couple times and then allowed to go leak a couple times. And this is the rotary spline compressor. This is the one with the little blades that slip out like the old-fashioned power steering pumps on the 60s and 70s cars. And you can see how easy it moves because the little vanes haven't shot out to the side and scrape along the side like a rotary engine. And these always leak. You don't even bother. When you come across a Subaru and you're doing any other air conditioning work on them, just remove these and automatically change them. Even if you don't think they're leaking, change these O-rings if they've never been done. They're gonna leak. That's it. Let me jump to pressurizing this with nitrogen and look for other leaks other than the one I already know, and then vacuum it out and charge it up with refrigerant and confirm the compressor is good, the expansion valve is good, then recover out the refrigerant, and then give my complete diagnosis. All right, be back in a minute.